most respected Director, the Ministry of Youth, Affairs and Sports, Vimal Anand sir, Dr. Uri, who's the President XP, Dr. Rosa, who's the President, he passed away, Maria Dunal again, the Vice President of XP, and Fatima, an Olympian, Dr. G. Kishore is the Principal, Sujit Panigre, Dr. Sanjay, and my dear PE teachers. On the occasion of the third batch of the PE and Community Coaching Program, which has commenced today, we are indeed very fortunate to have Vimal Anand sir, who is the guest on this particular occasion. And every time I feel it is because of Vimal sir that LNCP could get this height, mileage, and popularity. And so trusted and gave us this platform. So I think we all owe you in a great deal. So on behalf of the Ministry of Youth, Affairs and Sports, Khelo India, Sai LNCP, and all the PE teachers, a warm welcome to a most dignified and admiring guest of honor, Vimal Anand sir. A warm welcome to you, sir.
Thank you.
I would also like to welcome President XP, a close friend of LNCP and our family. It's indeed a very rarely happen to see a president of such an international body always being a part of this program, seeing that you attend each and every session and trying to give us a helping hand at every corner. I just happened to ask you, and in a very short notice, in a day's time, Dr. Uri said, yes, I'm there for the initial session. On behalf of the Ministry of Youth, Affairs and Sports, Government of India, Khelo India, a warm welcome to you, Dr. Uri, to this function. I'd like to welcome Dr. Rosa, a charming, I'd say, lady and ambassador, who has made it a real international program, given us an international platform. And I know if Rosa tells, nobody would say no to an answer. It's because of you, everybody are here. On behalf of the Ministry of Youth, Affairs and Sports, Government of India, Khelo India, a warm welcome to you, Madam Rosa. I'd like to welcome the Vice President of XP, Maria Dunal, a great dancer. And Maria has promised us she's going to have a session for us too. Thank you so much for being here, but this is a time where I need to welcome you on behalf of the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, Government of India, and all the PE teachers. A warm welcome to you, Maria.
Yeah.
I'd like to welcome Fatima, an Olympian who's a pride of Africa. And you have made this platform very heavy because it's indeed very rare you have academics with a high sport achievement. Indeed, it's a very proud moment for us. A warm welcome to you, Madam Fatima. I'd like to welcome our principal, Dr. G. Kishore sir, who's a great administrator. On behalf of all those present here, a warm welcome to our leader, Kishore sir. And before this, I'd like to welcome and Director General, also from the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, for having given us this platform. I think I need to do that at the outset. Mr. Sujit Panigre, who's been the soul of this program, you have gotten maximum participants because we thought I don't think the program could ever move ahead with this mileage. On behalf of the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, a warm welcome to you, Sujit Panigre. My co-host, Dr. Sanjay Prajapati, a warm welcome to you and for making this a really smooth one. I'd like to welcome all my PE teachers because you are the true ambassadors. And it's been a great learning, and I'm sure you'll prove to the world, especially to the Indian community, that we'll not only economically make it much better, we're going to really make a healthy and fit India. So once again, a warm welcome to one and all. May I request Kishore sir to speak a few words before I request Vimal Anand sir. So please.
Our respected resource person today, Dr. Uri Schaefer, President of International Council of Sports, Sciences and Physical Education, and also the Secretary General of Israel Coaching Association, other distinguished panelists, our respected Director from Ministry of Sports and Youth Affairs, Sri Vimal Anand, ladies and gentlemen. So Dr. Usha has narrated already the purpose of this webinar. We have had already two successful programs done, the first and second, which was got an exceedingly well become success, and with a large number of participants and a variety of subjects, topics from national and international level resource persons. And it has got wide acceptance, and it has been applauded by the entire professional faculty of having a in-depth values, and for it has gone deep into the profession, into the various aspects. And the third version of it we are commencing from today, and it is we are really fortunate that we have got none other than Dr. Uri Schaefer, the president of the Sports Science International Body of Sports Science and Physical Education, to take the first session. That too, he is taking on a topic which is most relevant at this point of time. That is, topic is physical education, physical activity, and sports. Threats, challenges, and opportunities, and international perspectives. So this is one of the most relevant topic at this point of time, when countries like India, we are facing the pandemic on one side, and we are an young nation, and we have got very, we are too ambitious that we would like to climb to the top in every aspects, every field, no exception to sports too. And here, the resourcefulness of our young youth become of pivotal significance and importance. So I am sure that these threats, challenges, and opportunities with international perspectives will definitely give insight to every professionals in the field, and they will be enlightened when how exactly to go ahead in the profession. So I'm sure that this session is going to be really a very, very productive session. We have also eminent panelists like Madam Rosa Amico, Maria Dinold, and Mr. Sujit, and all present here. So I am sure that with the discussions, with the variety of on the various issues confronting the profession worldwide and in our with a specific reference to our country, will definitely help our field faculty, our professionals in the field of physical education and community coaches, who has to play a formidable role to play their job, to take it on in a better with better skills and better knowledge. So today morning I had given them a brief about the foundations, about the roles and responsibilities of physical education teachers and community coaches, where I have highlighted to them on how exactly what they need to play, how active they need to be in the profession, on the importance of the role which they have played. All this I have tried my best to intrinsically motivate them. I am sure that the international perspective to this will definitely will further, equip them and hone them with all required skills and information to do better in the profession. I once again place on record the sincere appreciation to the international fraternity in the field of physical education and sports, headed by Dr. Yuri, Madam Rosa, Maria, and all, to have wholeheartedly supporting us in this venture. And I am sure that with the support of MIA's Ministry of Sports and Youth Affairs and all the professionals in the field, we can emerge into a very resourceful nation, highly resourceful youth, and we can pave way for the country to become to reach the heights of glory, not only in sports, in every walks of excellence. Thank you very much, and over to Dr. Shah.
Thank you, Kishore sir. Now for the most awaited address by our guest, Vimalanand sir. So please.
A very good evening to all of you, and good morning, good afternoon to, I don't know from which parts of the world our guests are, but my warm greetings to all of you. I welcome Dr. Uri Schaefer, Dr. Rosa, Ms. Al Fakir, and Ms. Maria, and my dear colleagues, Dr. Kishore, Dr. Usha, Dr. Sanjay, and Sujit ji. Uh, it feels very pleasant, and it's a matter of privilege for me to address a gathering of such eminent personalities in the field of physical education and community coaching, as well as sports sciences. Uh, it's right at the outset, I feel immense gratitude that all of you have even earlier in our earlier sessions, you have been able to spare time at our short request, and you have been able to spare time for us, and so kindly agreed to motivate our students and our teachers, or our trainers who are going to impart the knowledge that is learned from you to their students. Um See, I'm not an expert. I'm just an administrator. I don't know. Dr. Usha always tends to speak so highly about me, but uh, the thing is that I at the Ministry of Sports in India, we can always motivate and inspire people who come up with ideas and who show the spirit of initiative. So, since LNCP came up with a very good idea along with support from organizations that Mr. Sujit belongs to, uh, they came up with such brilliant ideas, and we were very glad that somebody is taking this lead in you know uh, planning and structuring a course for the physical education teachers. So it was, it was our responsibility to give them the moral support and the financial help also, whatever is needed, whatever we can do. uh, these are very challenging times for all of us across the world, and despite such adversities, we have been able to already complete two successful batches of our trainees, and now this is a third batch which is also going to uh, be a successful one. And in this, besides the organizers, that is LNCP, the role of all of you can I don't have words to appreciate that the role that you people have played. So my heartfelt appreciation and gratitude to all of you. In India, we are still trying uh, to uh, to to introduce our students to the concept of community coaching. And so when I would like to request some of you that if you can stress some or give some more emphasis on the concept of community coaching and how it can be useful for developing our budding sports persons, as well as bringing a kind of a harmony in the society with the spirit of um, physical fitness. That would be great for us. We have also, I'm very proud to share with you that in India, we have last year, since last 1 year, we have introduced something, a concept called Fit India, which is a movement rather than some scheme. It is a movement which was envisaged by our Honorable Prime Minister, and he inaugurated it last year. And the main motive of this, main objective of this movement is to inculcate the spirit of fitness among every citizen of the country, be it a child or a woman or even an old person. We want to make fitness an integral part of physical fitness, an integral part of everybody's day-to-day life. So and these so in this aspect, there are not very many countries who have uh, taken it up scientifically. They are we have also There have been countries who have been doing this, like the President's Challenge in America, and there's some other countries like Canada, Australia, UK, and a couple of Latin American countries also, who have done something towards this kind of a movement, or this kind of an objective which encourages physical fitness for everybody. Uh, Basically, physical education is all about fitness, and sports also. At the end of the day, it is everything about fitness. If you are fit, only then you can excel in sports. So if you could also uh, take or by interacting with our students or by interacting with our faculty like Dr. Kishore or Dr. Usha and others, you could also take that experience and tell us whether we are doing it, whether something is missing or something um, more can be added to it. And also at the same time, please also guide our students to inculcate the habit of physical fitness in their day-to-day lives. So these are the points that I wanted to, and maybe I will during the course of this batch, I'll again get opportunity to interact with you, and maybe by the time I would also have learned a few things, and we'll have something more to discuss. But today, since it is the inaugural session of the new batch, uh, I would once again welcome all of you and express my heartfelt, very sincere gratitude because taking time out from different time zones and coming at one platform is not an easy job. So you people have all of you have uh, very kindly accepted our request uh, and chosen to be with us. Thank you so much, and all the very best, both for our classes and also for your uh, professional career as well as your life in general. And also, please stay safe. Thank you.
So,
Thank you.
because you could feel us. There are very few in terms of administrators understand. So we indeed blessed to have you at the helm of the affairs to understand and support us. Thank you, sir, for trusting us. And if you keep telling us, I'm sure it's going to grow more. And we have Dr. Uri, Rosa, and everybody, they have brought in a lot of inputs. I will definitely share that with you. So thank you so much. Over to Dr. Uri, please. A brief introduction about Dr. Uri, who's an experienced president with a demonstrated history of working in the educational management industry, skilled in coaching, strategic planning, executive management, athletic performance, and sports, strong business development professional with MA, focused in educational evaluation and research from Tel Aviv University, and a PhD focused in sports sociology. He's the president of IXP. He was also the past president of the International Council of Coaching Excellence. And in terms of, I don't think words can ever speak of the contribution that you have, because India, and I think many across the world are struggling to get into any standardization. And Dr. Uri did not leave any stones unturned. He'll try his level best, and we push things to their head. On behalf of the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, Government of India, Khelo India, a warm welcome to our dignified speaker, Dr. Uri. Dr. Uri, please, for your presentation.
Thank you so many times, Dr. Usha, for inviting me again to present to your teachers and coaches, experts, some of our experience concerning how should we educate, motivate, share knowledge, build networks with all concerns, focusing on children and youth. With your permission, I would like to upload my presentation, the slide presentation. I think it should be already on the screen.
It's not yet. You could share the screen, please.
Okay.
Yes, you can make it to a full slideshow.
Can you see it?
You could see it, Sanjay. You can make it bigger.
Put it in slideshow. Slideshow.
You see the slides? I cannot hear you, Dr. Usha.
You please make it in slideshow.
Slideshow. Ganesh.
Slideshow.
Please press F5. F5 on top. Keyboard, press F5.
Yeah, now fine.
Fine. Got it. Thank you, Dr. Uri.
Fine?
Yes.
Okay. Now, so first of all, thank you again, Dr. Usha and Dr. Kishore and all the dignitaries from India who actually made this best possible. And I would like also to welcome our Vice President, Maria Dinold, and President of IPASCAWE, our Executive Board Member, Rosa Lopez de Amigo, and all the other dignitaries that are with us as panelists, and of course, the participants, those who are actually out there in the field facing the challenge to motivate children and youth to engage in physical activity and to maintain in physical activity. And I think this is one of the main issues I would like to address today. How can we see to it that children and youth will participate on the long run through their lifespan in physical activity and help themselves to be actually healthy and happy? Who are we at the International Council of Sports Science and Physical Education? Well, it's a someone is playing with my slides. It's a global network of governmental and non-governmental organizations representing sports science, education, and medicine. Our task is to integrate research in order to enhance physical activity and sport, to educate for improved quality of life and health for all people through physical activity and sport, and to promote policies for active lifestyles, human performance, and good governance in physical activity and sport. How do we do it? How do we actually operate? Well, we have built throughout the years a unique network of member organizations and partners. Among them, we can find across continent and countries, across scientific disciplines, across sectors, governments, sport organizations, scientists, practitioners, corporate sector, and we are actually collaborating with the leading organization, global organization in the world, UNESCO and the World Health Organization. And in the sport movement, we have very close relationship with the IOC, IPC, and WADA. If you would like to have some more information about ICSPE, please look at www.icsspe.org. And if you need any further information, don't hesitate to contact me. One of the first questions I think we need to ask ourselves is, why do humans like to play? And as you can see from the anthropological perspective, there are so many reasons why we play. Because we need to practice, because we need to learn, because we educate, because we build and we develop social bonding. And that is how many times we manage stress and anxiety. And we play for developing certain cognitive and creative skills. We do play like the animals, but also for us, for our overall well-being. So it's not just to keep ourselves busy in playing, but it helps us to mature and to learn how to cope with various aspects of life. When we checked in Israel, the reasons, the motives of children to engage in sport and physical activity, we found, as in many other studies in the world, that the main reason children, not just adults, but children engage in physical activity and sport, it's because they want to improve their health and because they want to improve their fitness. And, which is extremely important for us to know, because they want to enjoy. We will come later to the point that many children disengage from sport because they don't have fun anymore from the activity. Something we have to bear in our mind when we come to that a little bit later. And I want also that you pay attention to the reason children engage in sport because they want to win. Well, 68% of the children engage in physical activity and sport because they want to win. But when we say to win, it's not winning like we use this term as an adult. For a child to go through an experience, which is a successful experience, this is for him a situation where he wins. If he can overcome an obstacle, a physical obstacle, if he learns to swim, this is for him a winning situation. Professor Veerle de Busche from Belgium developed a model where she's analyzing the different aspects which makes countries' sports system operate better in order to achieve Olympic medals. And as you can see, there are 9 pillars which she relates to. Actually, they cover the whole spectrum of sport. The basis is pillar 1, the financial support. Without money, we cannot do anything. Pillar 2 is the governance, organization, and structure of sport policies, an integrated approach. Pillar 3 tells us about the initiation, the foundation of participation in physical activity, physical education, and sport for all. And as you can see on the screen, there are many other aspects which all together, if they are all being performed to the utmost, will produce Olympic medals. I want to call your attention to one aspect which was found in all the countries that this research was performed, namely in more than 25 countries, among them Brazil and China and Holland and Denmark and Austria and Israel and many more. They found that there is not a very high correlation between Olympic medals and mass sport activity among the population by and large. But they did find high correlation between coach education system, which is basically well structured and well executed, and between research in elite sport and Olympic medals. So if I can focus on this chart and sum it up, it is very important to have a good research, and it is very important to have coach education, and I add physical education training system, colleges for physical education teachers. This will enhance countries' performance on the top level and produce, hopefully, more Olympic medals. The American College of Sport Medicine slogan is "Sport is medicine." How simple. Unfortunately, more than 41 million people worldwide, globally, are dying every year because of non-communicable diseases, diabetes, overweight, cancer, cardiovascular diseases, respiratory diseases. And my dear friends, my dear colleagues, it's in our hands. We can make a change. We can bring a change to our youth and children if we educate them, if we make sure that they understand the importance of physical activity and sport, how this can contribute to their well-being throughout their lifespan. The role of you, my dear friends, physical education teachers and coaches, in this regard, is to deliver the product. What is a product? The product is physical education and sport to your customers. And this cannot be underestimated. Between you and me, if children don't like physical activity or sport, it is not because the product is bad. It's because we, physical education teachers and coaches, are not successful in delivering it properly to our customers. Something to think about. Now, we all, teachers, scientists, coaches, experts, are role models. And you have to understand the importance for the children as to who are the role models. They many times will follow you through, not even understanding why they are doing it, but because you have set the example, the right example. Your example is the highest motivation possible for your clients. Always be on time. Always make sure you are listening to your customers, to your students, to your athletes, to your pupils. Be open-minded. Have your own mind, but be open-minded to listen and to change sometimes your mindset. Serve as a role model. It is so important. If we take two examples of role models, Vince Lombardi was an American football coach, one of the legend football coaches. He was to be attributed that winning is not everything, winning is the only thing. Well, he didn't say that actually, but this slogan was attributed to him. And do we want to educate our children to believe that winning is not everything, that winning is the only thing? No, my dear colleagues, no. This is not the right way we want to educate our children. Absolutely not. I would say one more thing. It's not even the way to train and coach elite athletes. Joe Wooden is one of the legendary basketball players and coaches in the United States who lived between 1910 to 2010. Let me go with you with some of his quotes and you understand why I believe he is an outstanding role model. Success comes from knowing that you did your best to become the best that you are capable to become. A coach is someone who can give correction without causing resentment. The best competition I have is against myself to become better. The most important thing in the world is family and love. Failure is not fatal, but failure to change might be. Teaching players during practices was what coaching was all about. Young people need models, not critics. What you are as a person is far more important than what you are as a basketball player. Winning takes talent. To repeat it takes character. Given the evidence we have presented, some question arises. How can we as physical education teachers and coaches in our community make sure that our children and youth will get the best training possible? What should we take into account to provide the children and youth with proper education and instruction? What needs to be done in order to increase the possibility that our young participants will not drop out from sport and physical activity prematurely? Let me give you some findings of a research that we conducted together with Nike and the American College of Sports Medicine. And we actually think that this is a hell of a lot piece of information which you can use. And today we even change it to a degree and say it's not the first 10 years, but it's the first 12 years. Let us not forget that based on the WHO organization, children aged 5 to 17 are expected to train 60 minutes daily. And if you talk about strength and muscle building, 3 times a week. So why do children play sport? We understand why humans play and like to play, why children like to play sport and physical activity. When they are asked why do they like to play, they answer. And the answer is divided to 3 categories of ages, actually 2 categories of ages. Between the ages of 3 to 7, they tend to mean play and pleasure. When I see at age of 6 and 7, children are being trained as competitors, I know they will never be outstanding athletes and achieve medals. Impossible. Be patient, my dear colleagues. Take your time. Even if you think this guy, this little boy, he is so talented. We can have with him so many medals. No. First of all, it's not we that can have with him medals. It's he who might produce medals or win medals. We will support him. We will provide him with a platform. We will train him as good as we know. But not too early. Not too early. Older children from the age of 8 and older more often mean the satisfaction of learning new skills, of being with friends and developing personal competencies. Therefore, my colleagues, you all should adapt the ways in which they teach, you teach and educate according to the age and development of the children. Take your time. Go one step at a time. Don't take the car before the horses. Be patient. So if I have to sum up based on research findings, what are the main reasons why children engage in sport? It's competence, fun, and enjoyment. The parents are actually leading the child to do sport, learning new skills, friends, and peers. And I want to elaborate for 1 second on the parents. It was found in research, not 1, not 2. It's an ongoing findings that reveals that children to parents who are physically active are much more active than children to parents who are not active. So the first issue we have is how do we get parents to be active? Because then the parents will serve as role models for the children to be active. And I would recommend to you that every once in a while, try to get the parents of the children and talk to them about the importance of being active. Show them how it can contribute to their well-being, regardless of their economic status. This is so important. It's another important chain element in the chain. What is more important for us to learn is why children disengage from sport. Because if we will know why they disengage from sport and we will change our behavior, we might get them to stay in sport and physical activity through many more years. Because they have no more fun, because the coach always tell me what to do. I'm not making the team. I don't play. I'm not good enough. I lost interest. I don't have friends. I like to play, but not need always win. I don't like competitions. Today's children are the first generation to have a shorter life expectancy than their parents because more than 35% of the children worldwide are not physically active, according to the regulations set forth by the World Health Organization. Furthermore, only about 25% of the children worldwide are meeting the criteria for physical activity and sport daily. If this is the case, my dear colleagues, there is a lot we can do. There is a lot we should do. What happens in the early years? Read this and you understand why we are not meeting children's expectations. This is me, 6 years old, and standing in a sack in the middle of the field somewhere in the middle of England a long time ago. I don't know why I'm here, what I'm doing. I don't have any idea what the purpose is standing in this field. All I know is that they want me to jump, hold the sack as tight as I can, and jump, jump, jump to the finish line. I'm surrounded by people, but all alone. There is a horrible feeling in my tummy and an itch on my leg, like a fly crawling over it. I shiver and wait for a whistle to blow. Just looking at the finish line gives me a tight feeling all over. Here is another example. My physical education teacher was shouting when it was my turn to run the 100 meter. Oh, Reinhold is up. Someone get me a calendar to time him. I learned to hate physical education. Through high school and college, I let myself go, physically, hating to participate in sports. And that turned into hatred of exercise. My dear colleagues, it's in our hands. Let us watch a short video clip that tells us a similar story.
Dr. Uri, it's not audible, I think.
It seemed like
You cannot hear?
wanted to hang out with your friends more.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
That's fine if that's what you want to do. You know, just tell me. Because you can do that anytime. Maybe we can skip your next game. Because choosing to waste your time, that's one thing. But wasting my time and your coach's time, that's selfish. You don't care about other people. You don't care about hard work. You don't care about teamwork. That's why you're always every time it matters.
So what we heard, it's once again, we are asking children to produce excellent and be dedicated and committed to sport as if they were adults. That's wrong. And the parents are so important. One other aspect which is often to be a barrier for children is the fact that coaches are actually starting the specialization with a child too early. As you can see, there are so many reasons, and it is important that we do not do it. that we do not use high volume of intensity, that we do not begin at a very early age, that we do not focus on one specific activity. This is extremely important. Children from kindergarten through the elementary school should be exposed to as many physical activity as possible. Individual sports, team sports, creative sports, combat sports. Then they might come to the decision, the right decision, what is the best activity which suit them not only physically, but psychologically and emotionally, which is not less important than the physical aspect. Just to give you some data of research, as you can see, early specialization doesn't deliver the outcomes coaches expect. Only 0.2% of 0.5% of high school athletes in the USA will progress to professional levels if they were early specialized. The same relates to Russia, Germany, and England, and many more countries. Don't start specialization before the child is 10 years of old, with some exceptions. I don't want to elaborate on that right now, but the overall rule, not before 10. Now, we said in a minute ago that it's not just the physical element. Let me focus on that for a minute. Youth participating in sport have higher grades in school and complete more years of education. So it's a benefit to the cognitive aspect of every child. Sport teaches the participants emotional control. And that is how the self-confidence of every child is developed. In Israel, students 12 to 18 who are more active in sport and significantly less likely to be overweight, depressed, smoke, use illegal drugs, and drink less alcohol, versus students who are not engaged in sports. Well, this tells the whole issue. In the USA, children even reported on less teen pregnancy through their researchers. And what is the situation today? See the cartoon. If you look at it, you see on the left-hand side, kids' activity then, pass me the ball. And now, on the right-hand side, pass me the remote. At the end of my presentation, I will talk, if I have 1 or 2 minutes, about the importance of gamification of all the electronic sports. Don't underestimate their importance, but the question is how you do it, how you control it, and when to start, and all the other aspects. We'll come to that if we have some time later on. So we know that in the first 10 years, great deal about the physical activity of children, but very little about how individual children experience it. So we need to explore new ways of thinking about children's sport and physical activity. In other words, if we are using the same paradigm of teaching and educating children physical education and sport or physical activity, dear physical education teachers and coaches, you will get the same results. Are you happy with the same results? If not, it's time to change the paradigm. Sport and physical activity can be good for children, but we also know that it can also harm them. We must learn to understand the differences that makes all of the children differences. Children are not mini adults. Treating them as small adults is demotivating, dangerous, and bad for sport. Target groups of supporting activities have to include families. You remember I spoke about the importance of the parents? Here it is. Child care facilities and schools, and have to be on quality, quantity, and settings. And I would ask you, my dear colleagues, that you, from time to time, talk about each child with the educator in the school and update him about the progress the child has made in physical activity. So as you see, it's a puzzle. Children's physical activity is more complex than we think. And it includes many, many elements. And you can add to the puzzle many more elements. The good teacher, the good coach are those who will be able to make it one puzzle from all the small pieces. And remember, there are not only good aspects to physical activity, but also bad aspects. And we will come to that in a short while. In another study that ICSPE performed with its partners, named Physical Activity Serving Society, PASS, we made some steps through research to raise awareness of the situation amongst decision makers and to engage change makers. You remember changing the paradigm? Change makers and sport prescribers to grasp how HEPA aligns with their objectives. Just for your information, as you can see on the left side of the screen, 42% of the Europeans are physically inactive. Now you understand why the number of deaths due to all non-communicable diseases is hitting the ceiling in all continents, but also in Europe. In the European PASS project, we said the following. It is important to provide a coordinated approach in the delivery of physical activity opportunities through cooperation between all stakeholders and sectors. In other words, if you think that you, physical education teacher or coach, can do everything by yourself and you don't need help, support, assistance, you are in the wrong direction, my sir. But if you understand that you have to talk to the principal of the school from time to time, you have to share knowledge with the teachers in other disciplines, if you have to invite parents to report to them about the progress or problems that you have with the child. In other words, make sure that you involve all the stakeholders in the community. To use physical activity as a means of prevention. To recognize physical activity, physical literacy as a key component of the European framework for key competencies. To provide fun, how important, fun, and effective interventions to create a lifelong love for sport and physical activity for all. Create love, so children who will not be able to wait for a physical education lesson or training session. And to design spaces and places for people to be active. Nowadays, due to the COVID-19, governments are using gymnasiums in order to teach children and have more social distance between the children. We are suffering and we should not allow it, because many physical education, in many schools, children are eliminated from physical education lessons because of the COVID-19. And this is another issue that we need to address as soon as possible. And finally, we need to conduct a Europe-wide representative survey of municipalities' physical activity policies and practices. And it was concluded that we need to create a matrix for change and to develop and deliver a communication campaign. Well, communication campaign is so important. And I think you people, Dr. Kishore and Dr. Usha, you are doing it. You are doing it. You are communicating with your stakeholders. You are communicating with those who are delivering the products. And this is so important. And I congratulate you for that. And the ministry is supporting it. And the sport authority is behind it. So this is something to be congratulated and to be praised. What are the recommendations? And that was published in one of the publications. in the recent publication, How Should We Treat Children in Physical Activity? Well, infants between childhood of 3 years of age should get as much physical activity as possible and be prevented as little as possible from following their natural instinct to move. Preschool children 4 to 6, as you can see, total number of 180 minutes per week. And primary school children between 90 to 60 minutes, 90 to 60 minutes should be spent on daily activity. An adolescent should actually do the same. The early years between 1 to 10 are influencing lifelong engagement in sport and physical activity. Target groups of supporting activities have to include families, childcare facilities, and schools, and have to be on quality, quantity, and settings. And I've repeated it so many times so far. I hope this message has gone through. Quality physical education is a new name actually to physical education, where we're trying to emphasize the quality of the lessons and not on any other aspects. So we treat and treat every child, and we make sure that children are learning physical skills and they are happy and they have fun. Finally, we, through quality physical education, we can recommend that we need to improve the integration of physical activity into the curriculum of schools, to create a physical activity friendly environment, to involve parents, as I said, and to promote active transport on the way to school. Active transport meaning to cycle. Physical activity, sport, and mental well-being, IXPE research. This was the first publication we produced, which relates to the neuroscience effect on the individual who is physically active, and how important it is to be physically active. It was found that schools that promote physical activity achieve better academic results than schools that do not. Members of sport clubs like and attend school more. Fitter children perform better on literacy and numeracy tests than their UNIFIT's peers. And older adults who exercise regularly keep their cognitive functions longer and stronger than those who are inactive. My dear colleagues, do we need further or more evidence how important physical activity is? Well, you have chosen a profession which you love, to coach and to educate physical education, children of all ages. Make sure that the profession you have adopted will lead you to educate next generation of active people, young generation, older generation alike. Well, the question is, do we need a global approach? We know the global increase of non-communicable diseases is hitting the ceiling due to sedentary lifestyles. I mentioned that in my opening remarks. Growing demand for discussions around physical activity over the past 15 years have led us to some conclusions. Changes of policies, programs, and missions of various stakeholders, UNESCO with the MINEPS 1, 2, 3, 5, and shortly 6 in Kenya, hopefully, the International Olympic Committee, the World Health Organization, International Paralympic Organization, Sports Science Institute, universities, research centers, Sport for All movement, and others. What can we do? The UN and WHO 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development and Community have developed 17 sustainable goals, community sustainable goals to be reached by the world globally. 2016, provide a golden opportunity to refocus on and renew combined collective efforts to promote physical activity. The problem that we are facing is that 23% globally, or 1 in 4 adults, or 81%, 4 out of 5, age 11 through 17, do not do enough regular physical activity to meet the global recommendation. In most countries, level of inactivity are higher in girls and women compared with boys, and men across all ages, and inactivity increases with age. Physical well-being. The contribution that sport and physical activity can make to combating the rise tides of obesity, type 2 diabetes, heart diseases, and other non-communicable diseases is well known. So children who are more physically active have better motor skills, which means they are better able to play with their friends, which means that they are fitter, healthier, and happier. Healthy bone development, which is virtually important for female of all ages and older adults for whom brittle bones can be the core reason of disability and extreme pain. Physically active people are less likely to unhealthy behaviors, including smoking, excessive drinking, risky sex practices, and drug taking. Insufficient physical activity is one of the leading risk factors for death worldwide. You remember 41 million deaths every year globally? 41 million. If you compare it to the pandemic of the coronavirus, the COVID-19, there is nothing to compare. And we hope that soon vaccine will be found, right? And we will forget about this pandemic that stopped the world for a year and a half, probably. Compared with those who do globally, physical activity is estimated to account for between 6 to 10% of ischemic heart disease, stroke, diabetes, and breast and colon cancer. So we at ICSPE have sent a letter during the COVID-19 pandemic to the WHO, UNESCO, IOC, and IPC, urging them to make sure that governments will enable people to get out of their homes and not to be under the lockdown as long as they practice physical activity by themselves or with their husband or spouse or two brothers, or cycling or swim in the sea. These are so important elements that can make a change of the state of mind of people facing COVID-19. The psychological component of fighting the COVID-19 is not less important from the physical component. And this is how physical activity can support and help in getting people out of thinking all day long of what will happen. So that is the value of sport. You understand the value of sport to each and every individual around the world. I believe it's the best product in the world. If we pass now to the digital world, and we know that we cannot ignore the digital world, and you know, especially in India, where you have so many computer experts and high tech on such a high level, you have invented so many tools that people can use when they are training. Should it be heart rate to record your heart rate, to the steps that you walk, and many other components that you want to record while you are practicing. One example is MyFitnessPal. MyFitnessPal is a smartphone app and website that tracks diet and exercise to determine optimal caloric intake and nutrients, and the user goal and uses gamification elements to motivate users. The 25K is C25K, short for Couch to 5K, is a mobile app which contains training plans that gradually progress toward a 5-kilometer run over 9 weeks. So you have all kind of tools and high-tech devices that might help children to keep on practicing even though they cannot see you, physical education teacher, or you, coach, every day. So those children who can afford buying those instruments, those devices, go ahead, support it, show them how to use it. Try to learn how many children have it already and make sure that they will use those devices properly for their own benefits. As far as e-sport, electronic sport, and gamification is concerned, I will not take you through the studies, but I want to come to the conclusion. The intervention in general and specific gamified elements were generally viewed positively and deemed acceptable. Results suggest that gamification, excuse me, gamification may have an important role to play in encouraging adolescents to engage in physical activity and in creating interventions that are fun and enjoyable. In another study, it was found that randomized clinical trial of 602 overweight and obese adults from 40 states across the United States, that gamification interventions with support, collaboration, and competition significantly increase physical activity compared with the control group. So gamification can increase physical activity. So it is evident that education process will be more successful if the clients, the students, the athlete will enjoy it and be happy. And whenever I coach swimming or had my physical education lessons, at the end of the lesson, I ask my students to take the card, either a smiley card or the one which is sad, and put it in the box. There was one box for smiley and the same box, not two different boxes. They put every smile with a happy one or unhappy one in the same box. So I couldn't tell who was unhappy or who was happy, and I was out of the gymnasium or out of the pool. And immediately after the lesson, I knew how many children were happy and how many children were unhappy. And if it reached a percentage which didn't make sense to me, I called the students or the swimmers and I asked them, what have I done wrong in order not to repeat the same mistake once and again? An immediate feedback, an immediate information, an immediate knowledge to what the children are attributing the lesson, to good reasons or to bad reasons. So many people tend to believe and associate sport with good outcomes only, as you can see on the screen. But we have to understand that there are many outcomes that are problematic. And it is our role as role model, as teachers, as coaches and educators, my dear friends, remember that every child is a human being, a wonderful, a pure human being. Don't insult them. Don't abuse them. Don't show them, God forbid, how to use doping, how to cheat. To the contrary, make sure it doesn't happen. Make sure that the children will focus on the positive outcomes and you will educate them in this direction. So in conclusion, let us consider the following to-do list. As a physical education teacher or community coach, please remember your important role as an educator and as a role model. Allow for a wider definition of sports success and make sure every child will experience success. Remember that every child is different. Every child is special. Encourage children to participate in a variety of different unstructured activities. Make a commitment to promote safety, healthy, and respect for the rules, other athletes, and the game, while adopting specific policies and procedures to avert harassment and abuse. Use high tech to promote physical activity and physical education. And don't forget, say no to doping. Fair play. As you can see, this is one of the video clips that we have produced together with UNESCO and the IOC and many other partners. And if I have, and if I'm allowed to conclude my presentation, because I think we are running out of time, I would say the following. If you have tried everything, and you have some problems with your children in the school or in the community or with your athletes, I think the key element to create inner motivation among every child is self-discipline. Self-discipline is a key leader to reach each child potential, not only in sports, in all aspects and domains of life. It was my pleasure to talk to you today. I hope you have enjoyed. If you have any questions, please
Dr.
contact
Uri,
me.
you just share the
either-
video, please. Dr. Uri, your video. You share your video. One video we have, you had given to us. We'll share it from our side.
This is a video I just presented.
No, another video which you gave us, we'll just share it. Harti, we'll just share it.
The other one, the first one.
Yes,
Go
Michelle.
ahead. Go ahead.
To get everyone hooked on sport for life. That means giving every girl and every boy the opportunity to get into sport. But to achieve that, they need help. And that means you. Our first experience of sport should be great. It should be fun, hassle-free, and it should make us want to come back for more. If we don't learn the basics, we won't enjoy sport when we're young. And that means we won't want to do it when we're grown up. We'll be less healthy and more likely to get diseases when we're older. So we need lots of activities, inside and outside school. And it shouldn't matter how good we are. Sport's not just for the sporty types, it's for all of us. Every ability level, every shape and size, everybody. We all have the right to enjoy sport. Because it's not just about winning and losing. It's about chasing us out of the house. Getting us active and more involved. You can all make a difference. Coaches, teachers, volunteers, coordinators, mums, dads, grandparents, brothers, sisters. You're the people doing amazing things. But can you work together to do even more? Ask yourself, what you can do to get more of us into sport. Are you making the most of your facilities, offering enough choice? And are you taking advantage of new technology? Listen to us. We don't all like the same things. Some of us want to really compete, but some of us just want to have fun. Either way, it's got to be easy for us to take part. Give us the chance to shine so our love of sport can grow. Because together we can do something amazing here. You can help build a buzzing, sport-mad community, and we'll be fitter, happier, and more confident than ever before. Let's turn this big ambition into a reality. Help grow community sport, and let's make our proud nation even stronger.
Well, thank you very much. And again, I would like to extend my appreciation to all the participants who are listening to me. It was my pleasure to share with you my understanding and my experience. I'm sure I have so much to learn from you. As you all know, our field of expertise is not sprint runners, but rather marathon runners. We are long distance runners. And if we understand and cope with this concept, then we don't give up. And if we don't find the right way with one child, then we look for another way in order to make everyone as happy as possible. So I wish you a great success in your future endeavors, and I hope we can meet sometime in the not too long future. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Uri, for this marathon speech. Because it was a non-stop session, a wonderful session, and a role model speaking, inspiring and motivating our group. But let's hear from a panelist. Fatima, please, for your remarks. Fatima. Yeah, you need to unmute yourself. You
Your
can't hear.
microphone is mute. Your microphone is on mute.
You need to unmute. Yeah. Unmute. We can't hear you. It's okay.
Yeah.
Yes, Fatima?
Yes,
Yeah. For your comments.
I am. It was very, very important. Are you hearing me?
Yes,
Yes.
thank you.
Yes. Thank you so much, Doctor. It's an universal problem concerning children, and your intervention was for me so interesting for uh, for every country concerning children. I would like to see more, but yeah, my English it's not my professional language. But in conclusion, I find your intervention extremely important, and I would like to work with you because we have something to do in Morocco concerning children.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate very much your kind words. And I will make sure to contact you and to see how we can collaborate. If you will agree, then I will ask Dr. Usha to provide me with your email address and we will make sure to make the contact.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Participants, the first Moroccan women Olympic participants. It's a great thing. And thank you so much, Fatima. Every time we look forward to seeing you. Dr. Maria, please, for your remarks.
Yes, thank you, Uri. I think we know our work very well. You know your profession very well. And I think it's very important, your last slides, to not to leave any child behind, to talk about inclusion and to educate in the fashion, in a way as it is adapted to every child, and not to use one rule for everyone. So thank you for differentiation.
Thank you, Maria.
Thank you very much.
Professor Rosa.
Thank you very much, Uri. I mean, you have such a touch as a coach and as a teacher, and it was evident in your presentation. And what you didn't say in your words, it was present there in the videos. So you choose very well those videos. So congratulations for that. And as you said, it's a long process. It's a long process. We are marathon runners, and we still need to convince not just our own people, but the people who are outside our field, which is much more important. Now, and normally countries are very much worried about high elite athletes and how to achieve medals. So, but in your presentation, you indicated how important is to take care of kids and to initiate. How do they initiate or start practicing sport? So I would like you to speak a little bit more to emphasize that, because with normally it is believed that people will get to the top level and jump in, and that's it, so easy. So please, could you speak a little bit more from your coach heart and your experience? Could you tell a bit more to the audience about that?
You know, Rosa, thank you so much for bringing it up. If I did understand your question, what we have learned and what I personally try to implement is the fact that when you see a child dribbling with the ball, and you all of a sudden you say, well, what a talent, huh? You have to be careful. First of all, not to build too high expectations among the parents and the child. And then if nothing comes out of it, it's a problem for life. I was a superstar when I was a child, and now the super is gone and I'm still a child. So what I have tried to do is to match the activity not just to the physical ability of the child, but to the personality of the child. For example, we know that you have introvert and extrovert personalities, right?
Yeah.
And so if you take an introvert person, an introvert child, and ask him to engage in sport, which is an extrovert sport, it will not work. If you find a child who is an individualist
Mm.
and you force him to play on a team, it won't work. So what needs to be done, it's a matrix of components that not one person can tell you to what sport is this child the best, or for what sport is this child the best. But you need to take into account the psychological aspect, the cognitive aspect, the social aspect, and of course the physical aspect. And this is expensive. You cannot get it handy. It's not offered anywhere. You have to build this by your institute, by your sport club, by the school. And that explains to a degree why we have so many children starting the activity. And as we saw in the video clip, in America in 2017, it was reported 70% of the children disengage from sport at a very early stage of their life. So it's probably more complex than just to follow the child when he goes to play basketball or go to swim. It is a bit more complex, and we need to simplify it, because if it will stay on a research level, we will never be able to treat millions, right? So this is an issue that I think we need to address, and that is where I say we have to change the paradigm. If I have answered your question a bit, I hope so.
Thank
Yes,
you.
thank you.
Thank you, Professor Rosa. Dr. Sanjay?
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Yuri, for this wonderful session. I think you have touched the part that we are lacking, that we need in our society. So that is very much touchable presentation. So thank you so much for this presentation. Thank you.
I'm happy I delivered the session just to hear you saying it.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Sanjay. Kishore sir, your remarks, for the concluding remarks of yours.
Thank you, Dr. Usha. Thank you, Dr. Uri Schaefer. It is something, your presentation matches your stature of the Supremo of the world body of physical education and sports sciences. It was something which touches down all the key factors, starting from why humans like to play, the fundamentals, and then towards early specialization and its impact, and a negative impact on and how the first 10 years you need to be, and what are the pros and cons if you overexert, and academic results and sports with special reference to literacy, which every parent, every child should know at this point of time, and a need for global approach. That is something which is required at this point of time, that we don't have a global approach. Many people, we pull in different directions. And also on, especially on WHO's forecast predictions on non-communicable disease and sedentary lifestyles, which each and every person, each and every one in any part of the world need to be forearmed and need to be forewarned, and need to be alarmed on what is the role that to be played in the through physical activity and sports. That's very important message. And also about studies of researchers which have gone the gamification and the need of increased physical activity, yes, substantiated with research and findings. So that is very something incredible. And also on the stress made on self-discipline, that each child, each need to understand the self-discipline, and that is something which is required at this point of time. It is not imposed discipline. It is self-discipline which is required. And also the index of happy and unhappy, to rate every class whether the child is happy or unhappy, that because it's something pleasure, we all know that unless it is pleasing, it is satisfying, they will not like, and that factor has been very older and also reiterated. Also, there is another important message given is that to everyone is that every child is different and every child is special. This is also that we need to take personal care on each and every child. In the individual care, individual attention, individual focus, which we need to give to each child because they are different. We need to take into account the individual difference between children, and we have to take them as special. Each child is special to us. And lastly, on the sustainable goals, that is the resolution of the UN and how it should be taken ahead. So it was very wonderful, well narrated and well prepared. And I congratulate Dr. Uri Schaefer for his excellent presentation. And I am sure this is going to definitely benefit each one of us, each one of the participants, and something which definitely paved the way for the globe, for the world to come up well and withstand the challenges. Thank you very much, Dr. Uri, once again.
Thank you so
all
many.
panelists. Thank you all panelists too for their wonderful participation and contribution, especially Dr. Rosaman, Dr. Marina Dinon, and also Ms. Fatima, Dr. Sanjay, and everybody. And also Mr. Sujita and Mr. Bimal Anand, who were with us, also took part actively. So they also have given their share and view. So thank you, everyone. And thank you, Dr. Shah, for giving me opportunity to speak.
Thank you, Kishore sir. Dr. Yunus, it was, you were speaking from heart because you went talking. You're a practical person, and I think we need to do a big job. We're indeed very fortunate to have you heading this speak because you made a presentation to the World Health Organization, to the IOC. I think that's a commendable job. And now we need to put one letter to our ministry too. So you're going to help us with this to see that how India is trying its level best, but what you could add. So on behalf of the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, Government of India, Khelo India, a big thank you. And I say hats off to our dynamic and distinguished and the most lovable leader, Dr. Uri. Thank you so much. It's again from the heart. You talk from the heart, you convey. Thank you so much.